Hey everyone, this is Andy over at MAJE 3D, and today we're going to be talking about how to set up a camera match in Modo for those times when we don't have image planes for our orthogonal views to work from. There's a little groundwork we need to do first, so let's hop on over into Photoshop and begin. So first we have our image of what we want to model over here, and the first thing we need to do is start setting up perspective reference planes. That'll make it easier for us to set up the camera matcher in Modo. So I'm going to go to Filter, Vanishing Point, and I'm going to zoom in over here. And what I'm going to start doing is just trying to draw out in our first reference plane. And it doesn't have to be exact because we're going to modify this a little bit. I'm going to try and get this over the midpoint over here. And just grab some of this. And for this dragging, I'm just hitting on left shift and my left mouse button and dragging out over here. So let's see if that looks correct. Yeah, that looks fine. I'm going to drag this up over here and see if we could get this plane working correctly. To something probably kind of like that. And that looks about accurate there. And let's see. Just move this over here real quick and just try to get an approximation. Okay, so that looks good there. And I'm just going to move this up. Oops. I'm going to control left click and drag this up over here. And try to eyeball the thickness, which is probably about here. So we've got that going. I'm going to go and render my grid to Photoshop. Press OK. And here we go. We have a quick grid over here. Now I need to save this image over here. Go back into Modo. And I have an update. So I'm going to turn this off over here and want to select the camera which we're using right now. And if you're not already in your camera view, you just go over here and slide down, and I have a camera called 496 cover camera tutorial over here that's selected. And we'll come up over here, and what we want to do is select our background image, and then go back to camera view over here. Next thing we're going to want to do is set resolution from clip. And also I need to reload this. So I'm going to quickly Go back here, and here we go. Our grid lines are showing up. So now I'm going to match to background. And let's see, how do I want to do this? So this is going to be X, and this is going to be Z. So just orient that a little bit just for the reference over here. So I have X and Z, so let's start plotting out X. So here, here. Okay, that's what it was. My work plane wasn't reset. I was wondering about that. So let's try to do this again. So what I can just do is move this over here. Yeah, that's what was happening. Take this over here, and what I'm doing for zooming for the precision appointment is just when I hover over this node over here, I just right click and then move my mouse to get it exact. And grab this over here. And I can put a control node over here. I don't know if this is necessarily essential, but that should help lock everything in. So we have our match, and now I'm going to set camera from matcher. And so now it looks like everything is loaded up. And just to show you over here, once you do the set, when you set your match, you're going to have this node, this camera is going to be locked into position. So that's just to prevent you from, in case you want to rotate and pan, you don't lose everything. So for example, if I unlock this now, and it's to prevent that from happening. So if you try to build a 3D object, it's no longer aligned to the work plane. So that is why we have that locked. So I'm going to keep that there. And now I can start building 3D model. And I'm just going to quickly go over here for a moment. Because I don't think I have a mesh created, so here we go. Try this again. There we go. And this is ultimately the best way to figure out if you're correctly aligned over here is that this seems to be tracing over the grid correctly. And go into wireframe and just make sure that's all lined up. Oops. And so this should start getting a little bit easier over here. So I'll move this maybe right about over there, and we can start moving some objects. What we'll probably want to do is start grabbing some of these over here. Go back to our camera, make sure everything is selected. And now I'm going to go and create a material, and we're going to set this to transparency, or that's what we're going to call it. And when I go over here, it's material 9, I just want to go to material trans, and we're just going to increase this about 80% or so. That should be good. Or maybe 60 or so. Just enough so you can still see everything that you need to, and you can still select everything and be able to work correctly. So, okay, well, the next thing we want to do is get our work plane aligned. So these bottom faces over here, I'm actually going to grab these over here, and I'm going to align my work plane selection. So now, for all intents and purposes, when we start modifying the positions of this object into what we are eventually going to wind up with, it'll, for all intents and purposes, is going to be working like you're in world space. And this is now your basically your origin for the time being. So I'm going to delete these faces underneath over here. Take those out, go back to camera view, and just start modifying geometry. Another thing is I'm going to hit the O key to bring this up, go to active mesh, and I'm going to switch my wireframe opacity to say 30%, make it 50%. I'm going to actually change the yeah, that 50%, or actually just go with 100%. And that will just make things a little bit easier to see over here. So let's see. Grab these edges, scale them down, and if I want, there we go. X will turn on snapping. I'll just merge these vertices over here. Do a quick sub-D check. So what I'm going to do now is use a, yeah, I think I'll use a linear fall off. Just move this over here. Go in. Turn that off. Actually, should probably turn that back on. So that's a linear rather than ease out. Make sure we use the correct orientation. And that looks good there. I know this got a little deranged, so just snap this back so I can get this to snap. There we go. In fact, I'm probably going to just grab these edges over here and just start bowing them out a little bit. What I can do over there to make it more uniform is grab, not symmetry, but linear fall off. Ease in. And symmetric, I have it on not start, but end. There we go. And there we go. That quickly resets that. And move that like so. Turn that back off. Let's see. Oops, I don't want to do that just yet. I want to just do a sub D check over here. Okay, so I got to grab these edges. I'm going to move these down. Whoops, that's not what I meant. There we go. Okay, so that's about right for what I'm expecting at the moment. Let's see. I think here, grab this. Just add more subdivisions over here. See how that's coming out. Okay, so that's getting a little bit better. I think now what I want to do is cut out this little notch over here. Oops. And I think I went a little too deep there, so we'll just grab wheel quick. There we go. Okay, so that's getting a little bit better. I'm going to start modifying these points over here to better conform. And I don't think that works. Oh, that's why, because I have auto connection. There we go. So that gives me that. Add a subdivision there. cut this. Let's kind of bring this guy back into place over here. Okay, so now I'm going to grab all of these. In fact, I'm just going to do it really quick over here. Come back. Got all these faces selected. I'm going to bevel them inwards. And let's see. I want to go about here, so that should be good. Join those together. And what I'm going to do is grab this and let's see, because I noticed this is a little bit more kind of at an angle over here, so if I go and tab that, yeah, that kind of better mimics that curve over there. So now I got to start fixing up this over here. I want it there, so go back to our fall off, go to linear, oops, go to none, and deselect, reselect, there we go. And that helps a little bit trying to figure that out. I'm just trying to move some of these pieces back over. So it looks like this actually needs to come in a little bit more. Yeah. And that looks a bit more accurate to what we need. And this probably curves a little bit. So I would go back over here, go back to our fall off tool, and I'm going to go back to ease in, I think. Let me think. Is that? No, not ease in. We want ease out. Okay, so that fixes that up a little bit. I go back over here. I want to start modifying some of these. Well, definitely not that, but like this. So okay, so that's, I want to say this is probably generally accurate. I know this these pieces could probably stand to come down a little bit more, so here. So it's probably going to be something closer to this over here. I mean, just gotta sometimes make a little bit, some tweaks over here. Okay, so that's about right. I know this doesn't quite line up exactly, but I think we're pretty good for what we need. Let's see. I think what I want to do is hit this up with another, yeah. Let's see. I can. So I want to break up these tries over here. So when we go to smooth it, it'll look a bit better. Have a little bit more control there. And let's just see what's going on with this shape over here, because this isn't quite correct. What I might do for now is just delete that. Delete some of these loops for right now. Yeah. Yeah, so if we delete some of those loops for right now, I'm going to actually add this over here. I want these to be use symmetry. And also, let's start refining this shape over here a little bit. There we go. That looks better than what we had. And I want to say our general shapes seem to be okay. I know this kind of shrinks down when I hold it. What I want to do now is start beveling. I think I'm going to bevel these outer edges. In fact, let me see. I think there's an easier way to do this in terms of selections. So I'll grab these polygons over here and convert. No, that's boundary. There we go. That's what I was looking for. And then just grab these edges over here. I come over here to the camera view. Should and if that's, yeah, so that's good. This might have to move out over here a little bit. And because that shrank, I'm going to try and push these polygons out. And I think that helps. At least with some of this. This might Yeah. And so that kind of helps a little bit. It also looks that this might be actually too thick over here. So I'm going to go back. Push this down, and this is probably not the best way to do this, but just scale this out a little bit. You might have to do some cleanup. I mean, is just moving polygons around like this. I'm not going to worry too much about some of these n-gons that are coming in because these are kind of irrelevant. I mean, if I were to do a hard smooth right now, just like deep, that smooth is fine. So I'm not going to worry about how those look at the moment. But we are going to start cutting up this area over here. So and I just want to slice selected. Turn that off. Move that into play. Grab. Yeah, so that looks about right. I'm gonna start cleaning this up. Actually, get this hole. Over here. And let's see how we're doing. So that actually looks pretty good. Okay, I got a vert right there that I don't need, but this is starting to come out looking reasonably well. I think we've got enough smoothness going on. I might just want to add subdivision over here. And merge that down there. Say this guy, maybe peel him back a little bit. So something like that. So this is generally starting to look correct over here. Grab this. Just move that down. And one more thing is I want to, because I know these edges tend to be hard, so just bevel those ever so slightly. And then with this, because we don't want that. Try affecting. So that looks, I think we're coming out okay. Always push these around if that helps make the shape a little bit better. And I'll just kind of slide this over here. And sometimes it pays just to help fix some of those tries and clean out our geometry a bit. We can. And certainly things like this over here, so that looks like that needs to be modified a bit. Just push these edges around. Try to avoid some of these more gnarly shapes. And let's see. And that kind of takes care of that. And just take a look to see how this looks. So I've got this over here. And I'm probably going to just grab these polygons back over here. Just adjust them, push them out a little bit. And the same thing, at least. Try to fix some of this. And we'll come down over here and just grab all of these guys over here right now, and I'm going to just loop slice selected right through them. Go to uniform spans, and same thing over here. And let's see. Here we can go there like that. Or like that. I mean, it doesn't really matter at this point. I mean, as long as it smooths correctly, it really doesn't matter. I mean, that's fairly clean. I mean, if you need to use all quads, I mean, you can always delete this edge and then just go in over here like that. I don't know if there's going to be that much benefit to doing that, but I know this looks a little funky, so I'll go put it like that. Yeah, and really, I mean, as far as this piece over here is concerned, I think we're pretty close to done. I think the only thing is this does look a little bit flat over here. So what I'm going to do is, yeah, I'm going to start grabbing all of these guys over here. And also these polygons over here. And what I want to do, assuming I can remember which fall off it is, they're going to be using radial or cylindrical fall off. Okay, so maybe not that one. Here we go, cylindrical fall off. And do like an ease in over here. So if I start going, let me get this manipulator up. Oops, there we go. So if I start moving out like this, that might work a little bit better. No, I think maybe just straight up and grab those. Tab select. Okay, so that looks pretty accurate to the shape over here that we have. There are a few more details we could always work out. We can add these 3 rivets over here, and these grooves for his floater geometry, or if you want to use mesh fusion, or just freeze this and then use booleans to cut those out. I mean, that's perfectly fine. But you know, the idea behind this tutorial was just to show that you can get good results through camera matching and Modo, and also just how to set up your reference lines in Photoshop for when you don't have anything obvious to work from in your photograph. So it's a very powerful tool, and I hope you learned a lot today. So goodbye, and see you next time.